Welcome to Trading Lounge and the indices. We're looking at the cash market, the SPX here. We're on a 2-hour chart. Just wanted to look at the slightly bigger picture. This is the top of the market over here. We've got a very clear ABC correction here in this case. We can see the market's back up at 6,000, which is, well, you know, it's really near the top of the market, and there's all this resistance across the top here, this old price activity here. So it's really hitting resistance at this point, and we're identifying the 6,000 as the primary price point there for resistance, and we've been talking about having a reaction from that particular level there. We always start to look for the most common pattern at the level. At the price point. So if this is 6,000 here, we would expect once it arrived here, the arrival could be short of the price point here. It could be on the price point, or it could be above it, but basically in one way or another it's arrived, and in most cases we would get a reaction from that. Now the reaction is correction, and normally we sort of find that this is wave 4 here, wave 3, wave 4 here, and then up for wave 5, and then some sort of ABC correction. But it just depends on where you are within the trend, and this little picture here could be micro at a minute or tick charts, or it could be monthly or weekly and yearly and all these sort of things. They're just fractal patterns, that's all they are, and it's just how markets migrate from one price point to another, a support or resistance and so on. The tricky bit is that when you're in a correction here, that well, in Elliott terms, that there's about a dozen different types of corrections. So I always find that it's so you can get some Fibonacci retracement levels and this and that and get some sort of idea about it. You know, we use group 1 above and group 2 below as supports, and yeah, there's about 12 different types of corrections. So, you know, you can get into, it's a bit of a guessing game of what you're going to get. You think you get this first leg here could be in 3 waves, and you think, okay, well, we could go up from that point because we've got 3 waves here, and then it just doubles in size, and you go, oh shit, shite, whatever. And so I find that it's just best not to, you don't have to know everything. All you need to know is that we're in a correction, and if you use a little bit of maturity and just allow more price action to unfold to a point of maturity, where a point where you can recognize what it is. I normally wait for the first impulse wave to move to the upside, and then that way I can put my trading hat on and say, well, I know how to manage my risk now based on that impulse wave, and so on. So I don't know if we're here at the moment or just near that low at the moment, or we're actually down here at this point. So it's something that we just need to work through. And we normally sort of, you know, with markets, stocks and different sectors, you'll see leaders and followers in those markets. So we keep an eye on a broad market sense and try to identify the first ones that are breaking to the other side, because, you know, once somebody takes a chicken leg off the table, then the rest of the flock in and grab, you know, start eating as well, you know. So that's what kind of happens. We're sort of herd animals a little bit. So we've got this move down here now. You know, I could say that the 5.8 is the support here. This is group 2. We've got the old B wave over here. So there's going to be some sort of support there, especially after that gap came in at this point. Now, I've got a count that could finish at this particular point here, but we also need to look at possibly it sort of expanding in size as well. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but just to get the basic picture to the upside here, from this low here, we're looking for 5 waves to the upside. Here is a special opportunity to join Trading Lounge for a 2-week trial for $1. And once that is completed, if you would like to stay with us, we're giving you a $29 a month, which is a 58% discount. Okay, so we're just going to leave that there for a little while, and you've got access to to 7 analysts and a chat lounge. Let's have a quick look. This is your dashboard. You can set these shortcuts up through here, and next over here for stock checks and trade recommendations. Here we've got these portfolios. We've got these portfolios for stocks, crypto, forex and commodities, and through these trade recommendations here that gets populated through here. We've also got trade recommendations that populate through the charting program, which we'll have a look at in a moment. You've got a chat lounge here that you can talk to all the 7 analysts and to other folks as well. So this is really important because we upload a lot of information here, and basically the charts that come from the analyst section also populate through here, and these like this chart here gets uploaded through this area. And as I just mentioned, here we cover forex, cryptos, commodities. We cover hundreds of markets, right? So with 7 analysts, and you got access to all of those people and everything that we do. Yeah, also the trade recommendations from here. This is our charting program. It's designed for people that would like to learn Elliott Wave because it helps you with the rules for Elliott Wave. It's also got an algorithm here. This is also another little algo here. We've also got, this helps you with the wave information. This is the Elliott Wave AI functionality. Yeah, all the indicators. This is, this whole thing has been designed for Elliott Wave. And through here too, we can put on trades through here as well. These are trade recommendations, and you go to certain analysts to find out what they're trading through here. You can also through here as well select whichever analyst that you would like to look at as well. If you want to have a look at the wave counts for what Shane's doing, or Kitty Upon, or so on and so on, then you can look at their counts because they're working on this charting program. You can have a look at their counts at this point. So this is it's a bit special, this particular charting program here, and you'll also have access to this as well. So like I said, it's $1 to come and check us out, so it's not a big deal. We're pretty friendly, and this $29 here is a 58% discount, so you won't see this again for a while. So this is a good opportunity, and this will, once you allow this to roll over here, then you can continue with this. If you jump off of this, then that will be the end of it. Alrighty, thanks. Side. Now, there are some markets like Netflix that have taken out the top here. I call Bitcoin a tech stock. I know that's, sacrosanct with, if you've been down the rabbit hole and you've come out and you've got red eyes. I understand all of that. I understand both sides of it. But there are, just saying that there's markets that have taken out the top. Now, there are markets that are just sort of lingering around the low here, like Apple and Amazon and Google and so on. And there are stocks that have got this particular pattern here that have actually broken lower here and then recovered. So there's a whole variety of things going on. So it is tricky sort of business. So we need to take everything individually, but we also need to take things as a group as well and try to understand the macro patterns with these as well. So as I've been mentioning all this week, we're coming up to 6,000. We have to expect the markets to react from that price point. The other thing is that in the beginning of the trend, you end up with ones and twos and ones and twos and ones and twos, however you want to. There's a variety of ways you can count this, as by the way, as well. But what we're talking about now is we're talking about going into fours and fives and fours and fives here. So we're in the sort of second half of the trend. This is the first half here. We're in the second half. I normally divide a trend into the beginning, the middle, and the end. But the main point here is that, well, a couple really. We're going into old highs. There's going to be resistance there. We've got some big numbers we need to work through. That's going to be the balance line within the corrections and the resistances eventually. and we're going into wave 4s and 5s. So as I mentioned, going into these 4s and 5s, these corrective patterns here can get complicated. So I think the best approach here is to understand that the market will move higher, but it's going to move higher in a series of 4s and 5s, and the wave counts themselves around large numbers can get skewed and become sort of difficult. If you're going to lose money, this is the space that you're going to lose money in it. So you either give it the wide berth, or you have smaller positions in the market with wider stops, and you just put up with, you know, whatever price action is traveling sideways through all of this. Now the other thing is here, we're going to talk about this little wave 4 in here, the two possibilities for that. Now there are markets like Microsoft where we can put this wave 3 top here in over here for this, and that means that it's doing a wave 4 at the moment. The DAX is also a little bit like that, the FTSE's like that, we could do the Aussie like that. So there's a possibility that this wave 3 could come down to here, and this wave 4 could come over to here. So there's a possibility in the long run that this top here could be the wave 1 top over here. I kind of not seeing any wave 4s here just yet in this move up here. I can clearly see the 1s and 2s, but I'm not really seeing anything, because a wave 4 normally breaks the trend channel through here, and we could say, okay, well this one's sort of breaking the trend channel a little bit, and that's cool, yeah, we could do that. But we're not really seeing any big wave 4s here just yet, so we don't have to worry about, is that going to be the top or this going to be the top. But it is a problem that I need a solution for, and normally I just sort of look at all the markets and see what the majority count would sort of be, because we can be pretty assured that when this wave 2 starts to pull back here, all the markets will look at each other in fear and all fall into the same pattern at that point. That's what they do. So anyway, they're the problems that we need to resolve, okay? So, well, let's just go in here for a moment. So I'm just going to go into the 15-minute chart here. Now, when we had Moody's announcement about the US credit rating, this little trend, we can see that's a nice wave 4 here. And then to look at this here is a little bit, you could count this in a couple of different ways here. You know, we were counting it as 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2 here, and going up for the third wave, and then Moody's did its thing, and it fell out of bed here, and then it's climbed back up here, but it's sort of climbed back up in, I can get 5 waves out of it, but you know, it looks like 3. So if I just cut that off and stuck that to that, then I would have 5 waves going up to there. So there's different ways of actually looking at it, and then we look at this little move down here and we think, okay, all of this little leg here seems to be the same family, and then it changes, and then this is a different personality in the structure here. So we could look at this in a couple of different ways here, which we will. I'll just get my drawing tool out. We could look at it as an ABC pattern here, coming down here and then moving up there. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is down for 1, back for 2, down for 3, back for 4, down for 5, and then an ABC pattern here, and then another pattern here. So we could look at all of this down here for the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here, and then move up. I'm kind of going with it basically being finished, and I want to see Friday be strong. If Friday closes firmly, let's say, then we can say that wave 4 is in place. And not only that, if Friday closes firmly, then, and you're long, then you know that you can hold through the Monday as well, over the weekend into Monday, because of the momentum on that side of it. Normally, yeah, so we just got to see how things sort of play out. So let's see how Thursday plays out and Friday plays out, and see if we get this turn up here, and then we'll make a decision on that. But these are the two patterns here. We could get 5 waves down to this point, and then have an ABC, and then, I mean, if we do get 5 waves down here, we'll be able to see it. Do you know what I mean? Like there's 3 waves down, and we could move up from that point. So let's just see how the cookie crumbles. And when we look at different markets, there's good use cases for both of these. So yeah, anything can happen at this particular point in time. Now, I know that's not very sort of helpful, but you know, as I mentioned, coming into all of this, you know, coming up into this number here, that 6,000, that was going to occur anyway. We're going to get that, do you know? So yeah, let's just see where this is, where that ends up. I'll just have a look at the SPI here. It's got the sort of different sort of pattern here. We're just looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little bit more to move down here as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. So we can expect some lows coming into Thursday, but the 5.8 here, or the 5,000 on the 800 and the S&P would be quite nice as a solid support there as well. I've got this counted a little bit differently here, but with the E-minis up here. But yeah, we should expect it hasn't dropped down as much as the cash markets have, It's holding up really quite nicely here. The 58, 65, 72 and 80 is group 2 of the 5.9, so that's where it's getting the support from. So if the 5865 here becomes a retested resistance, then you're going to see the market come down further at that point. It looks quite nice as a third wave coming down here, doesn't it? Because it's really sharp. But at the same time, the length of it's not that long either, really, when we look at the length of this point. And yes, it could go down a little bit longer there. I mean, it's certainly longer than this one here. So we take that to the top here and we can see that, but as a third wave, it's not much longer than this one over here at this point in time. So there's, there's half a silly chance that we can call this as a, what's the name of this, finishing off down here a little bit lower. So we don't need to do anything. We'll just see how Thursday plays out. And because I always look for the bullish weekly cycle, I look for it to shore up a little bit, So let's just see how that plays out. Let's have a look at the NASDAQ. So this is the cash market for the NASDAQ, and it's just on a 15-minute chart, and it's just the top. This pretty same count with the other markets, right? So now we have made a little top up here, and we have got 5 waves in this little move here. So I could look at all of this as an A wave here, a B wave here, and then a little 5-wave move down through here. Yeah, there's problems with it. I get it. Or we could look at this as an expanded flat. When we look at the futures market, these tops here are lower than this top over here. So in the futures market, we could look at this a little bit differently over here. So let's just, I'll have a look at not that it's a big deal, the triple Q here. Yeah, the triple Q's over this side as well. So in this case, I've got 3, 4 and 5 up here for wave 3. So this sort of presents a case that we could view this here as an A wave here, a B wave check and supply back up here, and a C wave here, and then moving off. So that's quite possible as well at this point. So yeah, it's a little bit tricky to work through this here, but let's have a look at the futures market where it's a little bit different at the top here. It's just good to compare things, So in this instance here, I can look at, well, this top over here is actually lower than this top here. So I could look at this as an A and a B, and then 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 up here. And look at this as an A and a B and a C. So, which way do we go with all of this? So, as I said before, one of the things is we don't need to do anything just yet. I mean, sure, we could buy here and it'll be all quite nice. There'll be good support at the 21 and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, what we want to find is we just want to find 5 waves up so we can manage our risk, right? Now, how tall is that 5 waves going to be is the question. And then we'd have an ABC pattern like this, And, we can go long, on that B wave there as an example and put the stop under here. And if it's triggered at this point, then we can move the stop to this point here. Because we've got 5 here, we'll get another 5. It may not get us very far at all. We may end up going up here in some sort of B wave and then coming down for a C wave here. But at least we've got some space there where we've had the stop here, we've halved the risk basically to this particular point here, and then you could probably move the stop up here a little bit. But I don't sort of recommend that, because what normally happens is that, to be aware of, if this was going to come back down here, what normally happens is that from wherever that top is to this low here, that will be 5 waves, and then there'll be a bounce at that point. And then you can assess, instead of getting stopped out here, then you can start working this little trend to the upside and get out up here somewhere and get to break even again. So this is a very good way to manage your risk. It takes a little practice and it's not perfect, but it's it's good enough to give you the a good enough sharp ratio, a good enough ratio to improve things. So yeah, look, all these tops are a little bit different in different markets, and yeah, but I mean, what we're really seeing here is we're seeing resistance here, aren't we? You know, all of this here, this is all in its own little way here. This is all, resistance here. So we have to wait for the market to drop, and then we've got to see how the market's going to muscle up to trend up, So we're not there yet. Hopefully Thursday could shine some light onto this, and we'll look at stocks as well. So we'll get the lead from certain stocks. Okay, so let's move along a little bit. So this is the DAX, and what we were looking for here. Let me just get my wave 3 in here, because we need to see that little dude there. Just put him there for the time being. So on the futures markets, I see the futures markets drop, but I just want to tune this in here. And the thing is here is that we can see that we counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and we've got 3 waves here, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we're looking for the 5th wave there, but it's not going to be there. So we're going to have to put that in as the top. And I think we talked about, I can't remember what we talked about, but this is not like a pretty picture at all here. I mean, maybe I've got it wrong, but I think in this case for this market, I think we should just push this in a little bit closer to this trend line here for that. So in this case, this needs to move a little bit here. This will be the cash market, but it's not going to give me a nice ABC pattern. What's going to happen here is it's just going to drop wherever that is here, and then it's going to start mucking around here, So that's basically what's going to happen at this point, tomorrow, whatever, when the market opens. But if we look at the futures market for this, we'll be able to see. Now, this is like the NASDAQ and things here. So maybe I've got to sort of rearrange this a little bit here. I mean, I've only got 3 waves up here, like I've got on the cash market, So I can look at it as a B wave here, but I'm not quite sure if that's right. I can see that we've got, if that's a B, then we'll have an expanded flat, and this will be 1 and 2, and this will be the 3rd wave, 4th wave. So we still need to come down a little bit lower here anyway, so nothing to do here. But if we get this, and then we start to get little 5 waves up here, that's going to be interesting, because the cash market may be able to survive this situation, and we can go long at this point. Now, will we get this here? I don't know, but that's what we'll do. If we get that, that's what we'll do. If we don't get that, then we don't do that. But if that's that, because we want to, go to the upside. And if you can't figure anything out, well, then you can go along above the top there, of course, and then you can drop that down to here, and you'll end up with another high here that you can go long on as well. So you'll see another high. But in the meantime, I don't know if I need to push this wave 3 and all this across to the top here and rearrange this little move here, or can I squeeze that in? Should I be looking at that as wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here? And bring this across to the top. There's a few little things here, but it doesn't matter. I just want to see what happens tomorrow in the next session about stocks. I mean, we're basically getting what we expected here. Yeah, I mean, this wave 3 could certainly be over here for this, and we could get something a little bit different here for this. It could be something like this. So we just got to wait, just to let it be. We don't need to be involved in it just at this point. And then we come over to the FTSE, and this is the futures market. We're on 15-minute chart. So in this case here, I think it's really interesting here. I mean, I can count this better up here as 3 waves. So I do wonder if I should use that as 4 and 5 here. But if I went 4 here and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, it jams it up a little bit, which is okay, but then it still doesn't make a new high above the previous high as well. So not only is it truncated, it's also, I mean, I could have it as an ending pattern, but Yeah, so this is probably the better count here, and it does fit in with the other markets a little bit better, and hopefully this is right. And if it's right, it's good, because this move here coming down is in 3 waves, so it makes this is corrective, so then it will make all of this part of a corrective pattern. And if that's the case, then we can look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and we'll need to come down a little bit further. I'm not going to get too much involved in this, but it should come down further. Have a look for the closest largest number down here, 2010 or something like that. But either way, we still want to find, you know, some type of impulse wave to the upside over here at some point. If we get that, then we'll do that, and hopefully we can do that on the Friday. So we'll see if Thursday can shore things up for us here. So that's that. So you know, it's looking quite good as a corrective move back. I mean, in the bigger picture here, if we could just go out a little bit here, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours. Let's just check it out a little bit and kind of see where we are here. I mean, it's been a nice trend. I just wanted to see. So we're definitely around the tops here for this now. And in this case, this 1 and 2 here, well, not that one, but this one, 1 and 2 in here, and going up for wave 3 here. And this was all a little bit tricky to count in here, but you know, as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there is overlap there, so we could get into, you know, I could make a mistake in here. But you know, as I said, coming up into the 800 here, not so much the 8,000, but the 800 is the important number that I call a profit-taking number, and that's what we'll see, and that's what we'll get, and that's what we're getting. So everything is doing the right thing at the moment. If I've made a mistake, then this wave 4 would need to either do 2 things. It would either need to come over to here, and then we end up with a sort of a WXY here, and 4 would go over to here on that low. We'll look at this as 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 here, you know. Could probably even go another 1 and 2 in here, but yeah, so it's all a bit of a dog's breakfast. It's either that, or we could even put wave 4 over here. But what I'm thinking is that technically this wave 4 here should really be bigger than this wave 4. So yeah, so the mistake that I could be making is that we go up here. This is the arrival at the number. This is the reaction. Then we have the first high above the level, then an ABC pattern, and then we go up to that point. Anyway, I'll be able to see it. But I'm just shooting the breeze, just talking about it a little bit. You know, I'm just showing you our strength and weaknesses in the pattern, and where we could be making mistakes. And this is why it's sort of important to have a look at other markets. I don't have the time to look at the banks and the things that create this pattern, but that's what you should be doing. You should be looking at the markets that are making this pattern, you know, and looking at, there'll be half a dozen of them at least. And then have a look at their wave counts. They might be really clear, you know. And also look at the cash market as well. This is the futures market here. And if we're in a bullish trend, you want the futures market being a higher price than the cash market. And if that's not the case, if this futures price is lower than the cash market, then you know you're getting divergence in the market between the futures and the cash market, and then you know that you sort of are floating up there on lower volume as well in that case. But all in all, yeah, this is what I meant at the beginning of the video. We've got wave 3 over here and wave 4, and then going up for wave 5. So the DAX is the same as that. So this is where we've got to drag in, get all of the markets getting this top here. Okay, so that's that. Let's go and have a look at the Aussie. So this is the cash market here, just to have a look at the bigger picture here first. We're quite close to the old highs over here. We're looking at this as an ABC pattern here. A little bit hard to follow, but this 1 and 2 here going up for the 3rd wave, 4th and 5th wave here. And I know that I haven't got that labeled in there, but you can see here we're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. right? What little but we only ended up with 3 waves up there. Do you know? The futures market would have moved back down, I think. But the futures market gave us that little high here, you know. So that's why I gravitate between the cash and the futures to have a look at the wave count, because sometimes the cash is easy to work with and sometimes the futures, and that's why it's good to sort of have a bit of a look around. But in a bit of a nutshell, we're looking for this wave 4 and then this wave 5 up here, and that will give us our wave 1 top up here. Where this will be, I don't know. We'll see how it checks in at the largest number. But the thing to understand here too is that this wave 1 here was really quite small. I mean, it is what it is, you know, it's quite small, and the extension's in wave 3 here. So when this wave 4 does eventually play out, finish here, wherever it comes back down to, it could be just you know, have this as the same length as that one down there. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be a big structure just because we've got that big wave 3 there. More likely to be shorter. And make sure you check on the banks and check with Shane and on other markets that have got this. I'm just looking for the futures market. Here we go. So we'll put that over to there. We're on 1 hour here. So the 1 hour chart's fine just for the moment here. So, you know, over this week we've been looking at 1, 2 and 3 and 4, and I think we talked about this, didn't we, about, because we had a long trade in here, and that's been no, we hit our profit target on this, so that was good. So anyway, we were talking yesterday about having this being shorter up here, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? Because this one here looked a bit shorter than this one or something or other. I can't remember exactly what it was, but anyway, that trades out and that's done. So we got that, and now we're deep into, we've got our 5 waves there, just not the best looking end here, and now we've got this ABC pattern here. Now the thing here is that we could end up with this as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here. If we get this here, then you know that we're going to have to get something like this here, and then another 5 down and then up at that point. That's the difference. That's what I don't know yet. So one more session and we'll see, because at the moment this could be just an ABC pattern down to here, and then we go up from that point. There will be a bounce off the top of minor group 1 here. It's got history here, so you'll see that. So we just need to work out the bounce and, you know, to see what we get and those sort of things. So we either go straight up from that point. So tomorrow we'll be looking for some sort of impulse wave. We may get a corrective wave. So we need to talk about it anyway, and I won't really go too far on the intraday here, but you can see here we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, so we still need to come down a bit further in this session. So it'll be, you know, it looks like a nice third wave, you know, so we could get the 4th and the 5th, and there's good support here. So it's just going to get a bit messy in here, and we have to wait for it to mature before it becomes of any real value, a bit like ourselves really. Okay, that's that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.